Hi, I'm Karen,
And I'm Nay.
and we are from
Boomers to Gen Z.
So we're going to talk about something
We're
special.
going to be talking about something that a lot of people might have a different opinion about. So it's about reinventing yourself and letting go of the past. So stay tuned. Make sure you don't miss the episode.
Don't
and
go away.
We'll be back. So, Karen,
Yes.
seeing as you are a boomer,
Mm.
how many times do you think you have quote unquote reinvented yourself?
Oh, quite a few times. Yes, definitely. Mm, I can see at least 4 times.
4 times. And like in your experience, do you think there's this big misconception, people always think that, oh, reinventing yourself, you're being fake, you're not being your true self. How can you just forget the past?
Oh,
And some people hate you for that. Like, I feel like, like when you move through phases in your life and you change, there's people who are resentful towards you changing. And how did you deal with that when you reinvented yourself 4 times?
I didn't think much about that.
Mm.
I think for me, the reinvention is it was my life journey to improve myself.
Mm.
So, I found that when I was in my young and impressionable 20s, it was too much about career chase, material chase, and being of status, which is normal. A lot of us go through that. And I realized as each phase, what I wanted or what I found to make me happy also changed.
Mm.
And I needed to reinvent myself to realize that to make me it's a journey of discovering myself. That is why I needed to change. And I realized that if I were to think about in my 20s, that person that I was, there were certain things that I didn't like very much, and I said I wouldn't want that as I get older. So I had to quote unquote throw that person away, throw that character away, and change. And I think part of aging is actually change. You need to embrace change, because if you don't, you're gonna be stuck in an era or in a little bubble where else everyone or everything around you is changing. And that's something, whether it's in a relationship or whether it's in your career or whether it's your financial health,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. Don't you agree?
I really agree with you. So, like, I'm still in my 20s, but definitely when I was a teenager, there was certain characteristics that I identified within myself. And I knew that, like, if I were to have to break the cycle, I really needed to not just make minor changes, but make major changes in terms of the way I did things, the way I thought about things, the way I approached situations. And with that change, actually, for me, came a lot of loss. So I lost a lot of people because of it. I had to let go of things that I thought were like the center of my universe at one point. And it was as if that change was painful. And the thing about it is that when you try to make that transition, a lot of those people from that previous phase or stage don't want to let you go. And then it's like that emotional, like, turbulence of like, how can I just move on, how can I just leave these people behind, or they were there with me through all of these times, so is it wrong of me to just say bye bye and put a full stop at this part because I need to change? And sometimes that doesn't mean I can bring them along with me. You really need to shut the door.
True, true. I mean, you had to grow up very, very fast, and in your teens, you will have friends that were good to you then, but maybe they are not in line with your journey
Mm.
of where you are. And if you had stuck with them, maybe you wouldn't turn out as good as where you are now.
I think so too. And like, I think that actually right now, like in this moment, I'm actually going through another change.
Okay.
Like, I'm actually in this process, 2024, I'm going through a process of like reinventing myself yet again into who do I want to be as a woman in my 30s. So this year, I'm actually at a phase where I think that I'm reinventing myself yet again. So I had one, probably I call it an episode, that ended like sort of like actually at 22. So this is quite soon because I'm 26 this year, but I really feel like as I move into my 30s, I feel like there needs to be a bigger shift in my life, something a little bit more concrete. I'm now going to focus on things that mean more to me. So I went through the phase of like trying to, I think I'm still in it, trying to please everyone around me.
Right.
So now I'm trying to shift away from that because what I'm realizing is as I get older, these little voices are going to matter less and less. And at the end of the day, I'm the one who's going to have to keep my life as sustainable as possible.
Mm.
And it's now how do I stop seeking validation externally, but validate myself internally.
Wow, that's
And
deep.
yeah, and by doing that, I'm actually having to let go of some people who are very, very close to me. Some are like even family members,
Okay.
and it's not that I want to let go of them in a sense where like I'm shutting the door completely. It's more of like I'm just setting a boundary to sort of keep myself safe because I know that I have an emotional pull with these friends and family members that
Mhm.
if they were to reach out, they could very easily guilt trip me
Right.
into feeling bad for making this decision.
Mm.
And they're the ones who, in moments of heated arguments and stuff, they always say things like this, right? Whenever you're trying to make a change,
Very
people
hurtful.
come up to you and be like, "Who do you think you are? Do you remember when you did this in this year, and I did this for you? Now you're acting like you're so great."
Right.
Like
Yeah.
all of this, which actually beats you down.
Yeah. Wow. That's very. I mean,
It's hard.
it's very hard. I can just imagine. But I applaud you for the courage that you have shown, and I hope that people, the younger generation, that you take this as a lesson learned. Um, that at the end of the day, I think most important is we don't choose our family. We can't choose our
Yeah.
family. So I have taken the stance that if someone is not uplifting me in a positive way, I would minimize as much as possible my connection or my touch base with that
Mm.
person because already we all struggle, and I'm sure 95% of the population, we all struggle with self negativity, self doubt. Do we need someone else to go and make us feel
Yeah.
even worse?
Yeah.
And part of this journey is that I read, and this is true, where it takes so much more energy to be negative than it is to be positive. And if you are always surrounding with negative people, it just saps you off with all your juju, all
All
your
the good juju
good
goes
good
away.
things that is coming to you, and you don't need that because you need to be uplifted and see things with the glass half full instead of half empty, right? And talking about change, also again another study that I read in the book is that literally human beings change every seven
7 years.
years.
Yeah. There's even a Chinese cycle around this, right? The 7 year cycle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's funny that when we talk about the 7 year age for marriages and all those things, and it's true. And I think if we as human beings really observe and be conscious of our own being, I mean, we are not perfect at all, and at every stage we will make mistakes. We will hopefully learn something from it, and that is a journey that if you don't make the change to improve yourself, then it's a failure.
Yeah.
But if you do make changes and you say, okay, I made that mistake, I can't help it, it already happened, and you make amendments to make it better, to I think that would make any relationship or career change or finance growth, that is something good about it,
Yeah, I
right?
think so too. And I think that like for the younger generation, don't be scared to reinvent yourself. Don't let anyone tell you, and you don't have to reinvent yourself only if you're like moving to another country or
No.
if you're starting a new job. Like literally like if you are where you are right now, you can choose to make that change because
Yeah.
sometimes it's bigger than the relocation. It really is from you. And when you shift, you will notice like what I'm noticing is people around me are shifting, and sometimes you just gotta let that be, let it play out, because when you do change, obviously, like, we attract what we give out, and if you're like giving out something different, you're gonna attract something different. So as much as you lose, if you keep your eyes open, you'll realize how much more you might be gaining, especially if it sits well with you. Like a few episodes ago, we were talking to a spiritual coach called Kathleen, and she reminded us about keeping true to our why.
Yeah.
So if your why of changing is also very strong, then just stick true to it.
Don't forget to watch the video, the link as well.
Yeah, you can
Right.
check out that episode.
Yeah.
But I'm all for reinventing yourself. And a boomer who's like now in her 50s, she's reinvented herself 4 times. And I think that it's not something that we should feel guilty for doing or
No,
wanting.
not at all. I think I want to share this to all the older mom. I mean, the 50s mums and all that. I learned that as a younger mom in my early 30s, I was very straight and I didn't listen to my children so much. And I realized that that's not, if I want to build a healthy relationship with my children and respect them as young adults, I needed to change because I value our relationship very, very much. And so I let go, or I let the strict matron mentality and die to allow a younger, newer version of a mom to my children and remind myself that, oh, okay, now I have to be more good at listening. I think listening skill is very important, and just be open to listening and not make judgment. And I found that the relationships start to be more endearing and more uh, it gets better, and there's like, and I find comfort knowing that I brought up two independent, strong, successful young ladies that, yeah, of course they have a mind of their own because I brought them up that way, right? So I want them to have their ideas. I want them to know that they are strong and valuable, whether it's to society or to the family. So for those who feel that your children have left, which I know a lot of you are feeling that empty nest syndrome and all those things, right? Maybe it's time to reevaluate how you participate in that relationship. Maybe it's time for you to say, oh, yeah, maybe they don't like to hang out with us because we're just too strict, or we are treating them like little children, or we don't have open communication because we are always making judgment whatever they say, that kind of thing. Maybe it's you, instead of trying to change them, change yourself.
I think that that's a good one.
Yeah. So I hope you had great fun listening to us babbling along. So just a legal note, it's just entertainment purpose, and that we're here to bring in perspective between a younger and an older generation, two ladies. And I hope you will like.
And subscribe. Do leave your comments as well.
Exactly. And we'll see you next week.